You're a producer. You just made a really cool chord progression and now you're kind of lost on how to make a bass line for it. My name is El Marquis, musician, rapper, record producer, unashamed crossbar lover, and today I'm going to show you how to quickly make a bass line that follows a chord progression.
El Marquis Productions.
First of all, thank you so much for tuning into this video. I make videos that give tutorials on Logic Pro 10. I also make videos that give advice to independent artists and producers. I do product reviews, and I make videos that break down my beat making and songwriting process. So if any of that interests you, I need you to do me a really quick favor. Go down, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so that way you'll be notified whenever I make more videos like this, and you'll help other people who have similar interests as you see more videos like this. Got that knocked out? Bet. Let's get into the video. This is meant to be a beginner's tutorial on how to quickly make bass lines that follow chord progressions. It's not going to teach you anything super advanced or super crazy. This is meant to be a starting point for someone who maybe doesn't know too much music theory, or maybe you just started producing and you're trying to figure out how to make bass lines. It would help to know a little bit about music theory, but like I said, this is a beginner's tutorial, so you don't need a crazy amount of music theory in your bag right now. So now I'm going to go switch over to the computer and I'm going to show you how to quickly make a bass line that follows a chord progression. Alright, I opened up Logic Pro 10, and to start out with, I imported a loop that I made that's in a free sample pack that I made. You can check the description for that. It's completely free to download. So I'll play this loop and then I'll show you a bass line that you can create over it. It's cool, it's pretty simple. So when it comes to creating bass lines over chord progressions, it does help to know a little bit about music theory. And when I make loop packs, one of the things that I include to help people out so that they can quickly get started is I always include the tempo and the key signature. So as you can see, it's 153 BPM and it's an F major. And of course the key signature will change if you decide to transpose the loop, but if you want to quickly get started, I always include that information right there. So why does this, specifically the key signature, matter? So when you create chords, there's always a root note to it. For example, in F major, an F major chord is F, A, and C. In the bass line, usually, not always, but it usually follows the root note of the chord. So the first chord that I play in this loop is an F chord. So then the first note that I would play on the bass would be an F. And then of course I would just follow the rest of the chords for the bass line if I want to just make something really simple. So I'll actually demonstrate right now. I just have a bass patch that's pulled up in Omnisphere. Make sure that you're listening to this on either headphones or studio monitors because it's harder to hear bass frequencies on smaller speakers such as your laptop or your cell phone speakers. So as you heard, all I was doing with that bass line was just following the chord progression with it. This chord progression was relatively simple. All I'm doing is pretty much just F, E, D, C. And if I just want to make something really quick, really simple, then all I'd really have to do is just hold out that root note at the same length as the chords. So I'll play again what I did. Cool, that's really simple, that's really basic. If you're just starting out, that's a perfectly fine bass line that you can create. What's something that you can do to spice it up a little bit more? As you follow those root notes, maybe you could put in a few extra notes here and there. Not to the point where it's super crazy and then there are just too many notes everywhere and it just sounds congested for no reason. But you can add little passing notes here and there to make the bass line sound a bit more interesting. So I might mess up, but I'm going to try to make one right now on the spot and just play around and hear what we come up with. I think I messed up on one of those notes, but anyways, I think you might get the idea. So I'm still following the root notes of all of those chords. I'm still playing the same chord progression, but in between those chords, I'm adding in a few extra notes. So I just captured that recording. For some reason, I decided not to record it. Here's what I did. And I'll play it with the loop. So these notes right here, those notes follow the chord progression, and then these passing notes in between They make the bass line move a bit more. It makes it feel less boring, less static. It makes it sound a bit more interesting. And as you get better at creating bass lines, these patterns can become more complex. Generally, you'll want to follow the root note of the chord progression, and then of course just add in some notes here and there to make the bass line sound a bit more interesting. You can do this with synth bass, you can do this with sub bass, you can do this with 808s, but the main fundamentals for creating a bass line with the chord progression is to pay attention to the root note of your chord progression, and then if you want to make a really quick, really simple bass line, pretty much just copy the root notes of the chord progression to the bass. And if you want to make things sound a bit more interesting, add a few notes between those chord changes here and there. Not too much to where that bass is just going way too crazy, but just something that can make it sound a bit more interesting than only following the root notes. Also, I would recommend to learn a little bit about music theory. Music theory definitely is not my best strength, but I do feel the more that I study it and the more that I implement it, then the more possibilities and more freedom I have for creating music, whether it's creating chord progressions, different melodies, more advanced bass lines or drum patterns. So if you have the patience for it, I would recommend learning a bit about music theory. In this specific case, learn how scales work and learn how chords work. So you know how to make a chord, what notes make up a chord, learn and understand what a root note is if you don't understand what it is, and then that way it will be easier to make chord progressions, then also make bass lines that follow them. And now you just learned how to quickly make a bass line that follows a chord progression in Logic Pro 10. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you've seen today, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever I upload new videos. Also be sure to visit my website, lmarquisproductions.com, where you'll be able to check out my music, my beats, my sample kits, my merchandise, my mixing, mastering, and consulting services. Also, the loop that I used in this video, guess what? It comes in a free sample pack. So you can also go down in the description below and download this sample as well as the pack that it's a part of completely for free. Now go down in the comment section below and let me know, what are some other topics that you'd like to see me cover? Do you want me to make some more Logic Pro 10 tutorial videos? Would you like some motivational videos? Is there a topic within the producer or music community in general that needs to be addressed? Let me know in the comment section below. My name is L Marquis Productions. God bless.